right, thank you very much for coming. Sorry for the delay. We have been in executive session for quite a while. We are now out of executive session, and I just want to start the regular meeting. We start with the moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. I actually didn't get a volunteer.
Volunteer?
Yes, thank you very much. All stand.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Stifler. All right. Item number 5 is staff recognitions. Mr. Savoy, you're it tonight.
Very well, thank you. Good evening, President Pengler, members of the board, Dr. Stifler. I'm excited to do this. I've always wanted to do this report. You on the first day of school.
Good.
So with my new job assignment, I finally get to do this. So I will stick to the script now. But anyways, welcome everyone. Glad to see all of you here. As always, the new school year is a very exciting time of year. I can't believe it's already here. It just seems like yesterday. There's a hustle, there's a bustle across the district to ensure that everything runs smoothly across all 42 schools in the Peoria Unified School District. And I am pleased to tell you that it was an incredibly successful opening. The Human Resources Department has done an incredible job this year, particularly over these last few months during the summer, tirelessly working to hire 285 new teachers. We're so proud of that accomplishment. What was great about the Human Resources Department was their enthusiasm and their excitement in carrying out that huge task, processing and getting all those people ready. For the first day of their new teacher training, all of those teachers went to Centennial High School on August 1st. In addition, we also hired 145 classified support personnel across the district in a variety of roles and responsibilities. Before school started, all of our school administrators engaged in several days of training focused on personalized learning, accountability, instructional operations, social media, which we saw a lot of that yesterday, crisis communication, and much, much more. Curriculum and instruction under the leadership of Dr. Bell arranged for author and instructional coach Weston Kiesnick, hashtag Weston Speaks, to speak to all of our staff in person at Cactus, but we also live streamed that out to all of our high school locations across the district, motivating our staff so they could be reinvigorated for their back to the school charge. As you can see, there were a lot of things taking place across the district to make this a resounding success. In addition to the things that we typically think of when a school is going to begin, classroom and teachers and our administrators, we have a huge group of people that do a ton of work. Our facilities department, custodial departments, getting rooms cleaned, floors polished, the grounds, transportation were tended to all summer long. A magnificent job was done because it takes all of those pieces to really make our district sparkle. On Wednesday, August 9th, which was just yesterday, I can't believe it, we have over 37,000 students who came to school. For the very first time, 2,303 kindergarten children arrived at our schools. Transportation was well prepared. One of the things that I like that transportation does is they do 2 practice runs with their bus, the driver does, the week before anyone even shows up, to be sure they know where the bus stops are at. We had 744 bus runs yesterday on the first day for the morning, the midday, and the afternoon. That's a lot of traveling, transporting 11,083 students. That's much more than the previous year. Food service, I had some time in the cafeteria yesterday. I never miss an opportunity for a good meal. Prepared over 2,700 breakfasts and 16,100 lunches. Think about that. That's unbelievable, all those moving pieces. let's take a few moments to take a better look at the first day of school from a nice video that we have that captured this across the district. Picture tells 1,000 words. As you can see, students are back, and we couldn't be more excited. Our parents shared many equally exciting experiences their children had on social media by using the hashtag #What'sInMyBag. If you haven't seen the recent buzz, our schools are engaging with their communities via social media. Our digital footprint has increased tremendously over the last few weeks. At Canyon Elementary, for example, they were reaching approximately 500 people on their Facebook page with their posts. After including a creative video about their drop-off and pickup procedures before school started, their post reached 6,100 people. This is an increase of 1,000%. Each unique social media post encourages the community to be more involved with us and experience Peoria Unified as it happens. I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we are thrilled to have kicked off the 2017-2018 school year this week. And without further ado, I and we are here tonight to stand for any questions or comments from the board. It was a great day.
Mr. Sandoval, did you want to start us off?
Wow. I met with Dr. Davidson earlier today, and he mentioned all the social media that was going out and the tweets, et cetera. Asked if I was on Twitter. I said, absolutely, I've seen him. So it was certainly an honor and a proud moment to see all the messages that were going out. I live near Park Ridge, so leaving the house and then going to the office and seeing all the smiling faces, the kids, the families, the cars lining up, dropping off their children. Definitely an excited time. I think you attributed to I don't know, it was New Year's or kind of a New Year's celebration-esque type party. So, but congratulations. 37,000 plus smiling faces, stories, success stories. It's going to be a great year. So thank you.
Welcome.
Mrs. Connect?
No, I just want to congratulate everyone at the start of school. No news is good news. Smooth sailing, so congratulations. This is a big operation, very complex, lots of human factor in there, and the fact that it got off so smoothly is an incredible feat. So congratulations to you all.
Mrs. Sahara Martinez?
I would have to agree with my colleagues. Phenomenal. I asked my sons if I could take them to their school, and they said, "No, Mom, please don't go." So I went to Paseo Verde and saw everything that you described in that video, the smiling faces, and got my fix from the kindergarten class. So they were phenomenal out there. So home run to all of you guys.
Well, I didn't get a chance to go by any of the schools yesterday, but on my Facebook, I do have a lot of friends that their kids had started yesterday, and with a lot of smiling faces. So one that actually drove herself for the first time. So a lot of excited kids from kindergartens on up. And it is, I echo Mrs. Connect's sentiments that no news for the board is good news, and that there are a lot of walking and driving, newly driving students, and so we're very happy that everything went off smoothly and everybody is back to school. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Mrs. Aries, you have additional?
Yes, good evening, President Pingarelli, members of the board, Dr. Stifler. One more recognition this evening, and this one comes to us through policy, but of course it's always an honor to do this every year. Each year at the first governing board meeting of the start of the new school year, we like to formally introduce the leadership from our employee association group. So really pleased to have two of them here with us this evening. I'm just going to turn it right over to them and start with CTA. Introduce Mary Schuett this evening, and I know she has some other guests with her that she'll introduce to you all. So it's my pleasure to turn it over to Mrs. Schuett.
Always have trouble with this. Good evening, President Pingarelli, board members, and Dr. Stifler. I'm very happy to introduce to you my co-director, Frances O'Leary, and she does a lot of our high school work, and I work with a lot of our elementary teachers. And so, thank you, Frances.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay. And we also have Leanne Pocock, who works with our special area teachers and does a wonderful job, is very active. We had some more people here, but they left. We're tired. We have some very tired teachers, but just real quick, I'll mention their names: Don Kennedy, Renee Crawford, Carly Ryan, Nicole Albrecht, Tricia Alvey, who are all on our board, who help, Melissa Thalacker, sorry, and who help us all work together and come up with some great things. We do a lot of online professional development, high school scholarships, grants for teachers, and lots of good work in our district for our teachers, our students, our classified people, and we are happy to be here and happy to start a new school year. So thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. And to the Classroom Teachers Association, thank you very much. I'll now introduce Ms. Trina Berg to you all, representing PEA. So welcome, Ms. Berg.
Good evening, President Pingarelli, members of the board, Dr. Stifler, administration. My name is Trina Berg, very proud to be the president of the Peoria Education Association. Tonight I was only able to bring my vice president, Frank Eager, with me. Also on our board is Barbara Barkus, who is our secretary. Jessica Batty, who is our treasurer. We also have Ashley Holsworth, who helps with kind of everything we need her to do. And our AEA consult person is Nell Pedersen. She was also not able to be here for other reasons, other meetings. Looking forward to another great year of working with you guys and continuing the awesome, amazing things we've been doing. We've enjoyed working with you guys on a variety of issues, inside, outside of school time, and political activities that we've been involved with. Very proud to be helped out with all the 111,000+ signatures that were collected. We continue to looking forward to continue working with all of the things that are coming up this year. Advisory councils, still trying to get the MOU on the agenda and on the board. So, anyways, I have to say as an aside, I am also one of the mommies that dropped off a kindergartner for the first time yesterday, and the video from Ironwood, I had a bunch of my former kids on there, and I was like, oh my God, I know them. I was so excited. So I can't wait to tell them that they're on this video. Is it going to be posted somewhere so they can see it? Okay, good, because I'll let them know that, hey, you're on our district video. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and introduce my people tonight. Look forward to a great year. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions, comments, or? Well, as the president, I just want to apologize for, we did run quite a bit late for executive session. I guess that's the problem of having the board meeting right after executive. So we would have liked to have met the other members that were here. So thank them for coming, and sorry that they had to leave. Okay. Thank you. Is there any more? Okay. Next item is board recognitions. Let's see, I'll start with Mrs. Sejar Martinez.
Yes, I would like to acknowledge my colleague Kathy Connect. We had the opportunity to go to Oakwood to meet the teacher night. I went as a parent,
I went because it's my neighborhood school.
and so it's nice to connect when we're once a Peoria mom, Oakwood mom, always and she said that, so I'm going to steal her words, and I couldn't agree with her more, so thank you for joining us. I also had the opportunity of going to Canyon Elementary School, and that community is phenomenal. One parent's voice, and I'm going to quote her because she drives to Scottsdale, lives in Glendale, and chooses Canyon to send her kids there. And I just want to highlight the fact that she says she chooses Peoria Unified Canyon Elementary School. And so that's all I can say is awesome. And then went to Paseo Verde. And it's great to see that same culture replicated. Again, parents that have never been in our district chose Paseo Verde to send their kids there because their family was there. Mr. Stutzman was greeting the parents, and the staff in the front office were servant leaders, because when parents came in, they said, do you want me to walk you to the classroom? Not, it's that way, it's that way. It's, let me show you our home. You're welcome. So thank you again to those schools for allowing me to be on their premises. So awesome job.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Connect?
No, other than that was a great experience at Oakwood. It is my neighborhood school. I only knew a couple of the teachers from when my kids were there. It's been a long time, I guess, but no, it was wonderful. And the other really great thing that started the year off was the new teacher orientation. Thank you, Mr. Sandoval, for speaking, and Dr. Stifler, your words were very inspirational. We missed that one, but you were amazing, and so much excitement in the room. It was palpable, and it was really fun to be there.
Thank you. Mr. Sandoval?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, as Ms. Connect stated, I had the opportunity to help welcome the upwards of 300, 300 new teachers to the district at Centennial. It was very inspiring to see all the energy and individuals, their faces, and you can truly see their commitment, unwavering commitment and passion, to really ensuring the success of our students. Certainly these high caliber individuals, chose us and our students, for a reason. And that in of itself it was certainly a proud moment to understand that they chose PUSD, because of the legacy of this district, our commitment to being, having a tradition of excellence, and certainly unwavering commitment to continuous improvement. So that's certainly a testament to every individual in this room, and certainly throughout the district from a leadership perspective, who continue to drive that culture throughout our district, inspiring those teachers, creating safe and supportive environments. So thank you for that, and thank you, Kathy and Monica, who also attended the new teacher orientation as well. So great experience.
Thank you. Yes, and I just want to thank all of the employees and particularly the teachers who got everything back on track right away. So really appreciate it. So thank you very much. All right. Item number 7 is request to address the governing board regarding matters not included on the agenda. Are there any, Mrs. Connect? No? Okay. I guess let's move on. Next item is consideration of approval of the consent agenda. Does any member need to pull any item on the consent agenda? No? Okay. Then, with no items pulled, I would need a motion and a second to move it along.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, members, please cast your vote. All right, and past 4, and I didn't mention that Ms. Doan will not be joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing her next board meeting. All right, next agenda item is, I believe, agenda item 20, address agenda and consider adoption or recommended changes. Does anybody have any changes tonight? No. All right, let's move on. Agenda item 21, discussion and consideration of the appointment of a delegate and alternate to the Arizona School Boards Association Delegate Assembly. I know in this, we had a meeting, an all-day meeting a couple Fridays ago. We had discussed kind of changing up the format to make it a little bit more in line with open meeting laws and to try to move it along a little bit more. I would like to take the discretion to keep it as is just for this item, just because I would like to
Discuss first.
I would like to discuss to see who would like to volunteer. I know it takes a little bit of time to be a delegate and an alternate, so I would like to open it up for discussion. You want to start?
Riley? Thus far, my months here on the board, I would love the opportunity to serve as a delegate. I know my experience is going to the conventions, the conferences, and learning from my peers and bringing that back. I would love that opportunity to do so.
I will be there, but actually, because I'm on the executive committee, I would just as soon have greater representation from Peoria, so it's fine with me.
Okay, and for myself, I don't have time this year, so, and I know Ms. Stone's not here to put her input in. David, do you have an interest on being a delegate or alternate?
Are you asking if I have time?
Well,
Yeah, certainly interested, but I mean, with Kathy being there and Monica certainly, throwing her name in the hat to attend, certainly good with that.
Okay.
so we need an alternate.
Then my recommendation would be that Monica would be our delegate, and since I'll be there anyway, I will serve as the alternate in case she can't make it. Mr. Sandoval, you're more than welcome to serve as the alternate if it's something you wanted to see and participate in. for anybody who's curious about what we're talking about, the Delegate Assembly, first, there are representatives from school boards from across the state that come together and prepare an agenda, a legislative agenda that that ASBA uses for their lobbying efforts. But it is the entire membership that needs to approve that agenda. And so the delegates, one from each school district, is invited to participate. And so that's what we're talking about, who will represent us in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly, open to serving as the alternate. I'm assuming, if that's in the case that Monica can't make it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I move that Mrs. Martinez is our delegate and Mr. Sandoval is our alternate.
Is there a second? Actually, I'll second it. Why not? I'm not the one going to be on. Okay.
And I will be there.
All right, well, thank you for all three of you taking part. All right, members, please cast your vote. That was easier than I thought. I thought there might be an arm wrestle.
But you're correct,
that.
it would have been difficult to do without knowing who's there, right?
Okay, so this is going to be new for me, so let me try to do this as we discussed. Then we'll move on to actually, we have voting in progress. Okay. It did pass 4 with Mrs. Doan absent. Then we will move on to the next agenda item. Which would be consideration of voting direction to delegate an alternate to the Arizona School Boards Association Delegate Assembly on items included on the 2018 political agenda. And who is leading this one?
No, it
Just-
would be you,
just
but
whatever the
let
board-
me help you perhaps. I would recommend, if you want to follow the other format, that the governing board review and possibly, could add even to review the ASBA Delegate Assembly, to review ASBA's political agenda position on the diverse interests of public school governing boards for the school year ahead. And then that would be a formal recommendation. Then if somebody would have to move that, a second, and then that would open up discussion, if you want to follow that format.
I move to approve the legislative agenda as adopted by the legislative committee.
I second that.
And
All
Mrs.
right.
Pingarelli,
That will
any
op-
conversation is absolutely appropriate at this
Okay.
point.
Then I
Any discussion?
will open it up for discussion, and then we will vote on it. We'll start with Mr. Sandoval. Do you have any input?
Not at the moment, no.
Mrs. Connect?
What I like about it is that it is further streamlined. It's been a process over the last several years to make it narrower, but at the same time narrower in the topics covered, but broader in that any bill that is introduced, if it falls under the umbrella of one of these topics, that the advocates at ASBA know where the membership stands and knows how to proceed. I think it's a very good document, and I think it's improved over the past several years, and I think it's one we can be proud of.
Mrs. Sahara Martinez?
I would agree. I had an opportunity to look at it, and being my first go, I like the revisions thus far.
All right, yeah, I have no issues with it. It's a draft agenda, so I'm fine with that. Then, since we already have the motion second, I guess members, please cast your vote. This is really odd. I've got to get used to this. Oops. All right, it passes. Let's move on to the next item. All right, item number 23, discussion and consideration of real property exchange transaction between Peoria Unified School District and KMK LLC. Mr. Hicks, welcome.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Darwin Stifler, colleagues and community members. I'm happy to be here in front of you tonight here on Agenda 23 on our exchange of land transaction. About 10 months ago, we had Mr. Kevin Knight approach the district At that, his intentions were to discuss the Challenger Learning Center and how he could transfer that or give it back to the district, or get it back to the district. From that time until now, it's been a long journey of working with our attorney, Mr. Clyde Dangerfield, which I appreciate all his hard work and efforts, and with their attorney to go through the process. There's been negotiations going on through it all. And in the end, starting in January, we began notifying the governing board of where we were and what we were doing, and continuing on that journey. Through that, really, we've come up with the negotiated plan, which is the exchange, which is to exchange 2 pieces of land that we have that we deem as assets that are really dormant in my mind, in the sense that we will not be building a school on those. And so one's at 75th Avenue in Acoma, and the other's 89th Avenue and Roby Farms Parkway. We'd look at those 2 pieces, transfer those to Kevin M. Knight and his LLC for the exchange of the 3.6 acres and the facility that houses the Challenger Learning Center. We would also be receiving some cash in the transactions, $126,000 to make it whole, but then also an additional $125,000 donation from Kevin Knight himself, or the Kevin Knight Foundation. We would use that additional funds, so there would be closing costs, but there'll be in excess of $200,000 to make renovations, repairs. And we would also, between this time and the closing, which the closing would take place on or before September 30th, with us taking possession on October 1st, we would take the additional funds. We would also, besides taking the additional funds for any renovations or repairs, we would do a site assessment of that property with our facilities administration, that they would do a full walkthrough to make sure that the structure is sound, the roof, the mechanicals are all working order, so that there's no surprises in that sense. So that's the transaction. We've been trying to keep the governing board abreast of where we are, and so I will just stand for any questions, or if you'd like. I would like to thank our attorney. I would like to thank their attorney, and actually thank Kevin M. Knight. He was very gracious to come to us first, instead of, there's multiple pathways that could have happened, but he started working with the district first, and I do appreciate him coming to us first on that. So I will stand for any questions, if the board has any questions, or if there's any comments that would like to be made.
Mrs. Connect?
So are we doing our conversation
Oh,
now?
you know what, okay, I'm still in it, okay, so I guess I would,
If we're going to really do that, Mr. Hicks, either you or I, would you read the recommendation, please?
I can't read it right now.
Then I can do that.
Okay.
Really, Board? Administration recommends that the governing board approve the proposed property exchange transaction between Peoria Unified School District and KMK LLC for the exchange of 2 undeveloped existing potential sites currently owned by the district. It's cut off here. Thank you. I thought I could read it here. Ken, can you see it on your screen?
I can see it, but I think
Currently owned by the district. I'm sorry, my right margin is cut off the way I printed it here. You got it? Thank you.
Located along the north side of Acoma Drive, east of 75th Avenue in Maricopa County, approximately 15 acres, and to the northeast corner of Emil Roby Parkway at 89th Avenue in Glendale, also approximately 15 acres, for the Challenger Space Center, located at 21170 North 83rd Avenue, Peoria, Arizona. Based on the determination that such exchange would be consistent with the sound business principles, the property is of equal or greater value as required by ARS 15342, Section 23, and that is in the best interest of the district. In this action, the governing board approves the following documents in substantially the form presented, and authorizes Dr. Darwin Stifler, Superintendent, and/or Ken Hicks, Chief Financial Officer, to approve any non-material changes, with any material changes to be brought back to the board for final approval. Those being the exchange agreement, the agreement to convey the deed in lieu of foreclosure of the deed of trust, the estoppel affidavit, and the contribution agreement.
Point of order. I think really the way this should go is motion, if we're going to do it officially.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion first, second, presentation, recommendation, conversation.
That would be the most formal way. Yes, ma'am.
we gonna have,
We'll get it.
are we gonna have Mr. Hicks read it all over
No,
again?
and you wouldn't have to read all that, But because we would have started with the motion,
Okay, so,
which would be, Mrs. Pingerelli. I move that we approve the property exchange transaction between PUSD and KMK LLC.
I second that.
And then you would do your talking, and you would read the recommendation, and now we would talk.
okay, we're there now. All right, then I guess it'll go back to Mrs. Connect. Do you have?
I do. My question would be, I just want to, well, I have a couple things. First of all, thank you for addressing a concern that was raised, that we do believe it is important that there is a contingency in this process, that if the inspection shows that there's a great expense, that an unwarranted expense, that contingency to exit the deal is there. So thank you for reassuring us towards that. And then I would ask Dr. Stifler.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your vision for this property?
The vision would be that we work with staff to use it for a program in the STEM-related field, and that we would work with staff to design that. What would be the best use of that property?
So some sort of signature magnet type program, probably?
Or a program that students travel to part of the day, because it's not a full-blown school that could host a whole school. It doesn't, for instance, it doesn't have a cafeteria. It doesn't have, all of those.
Grounds,
It
right.
doesn't have a playground. It doesn't, so it can never be a standalone school. But there are numerous possibilities. It's a beautiful space that could be used for STEM-related programs.
And for students?
Absolutely, for students would be the priority.
Okay, very good.
Not an office space for staff, but would be my priority. But we haven't worked on this with staff yet because that seemed premature before the board had gotten to this point.
But it is a unique and special location, or building in a prime location.
Actually, in the parking lot of one of our high schools. Yes,
Very good.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Sandoval?
Mr. Hicks, yes, thank you for your due diligence here. So just to be clear, I mean, the cash contribution, the value of the building and land, equal to that of those two parcels that were equal exchange, right?
I believe greater.
Greater.
Yeah. Madam President, members of the board, yes.
Very good. Well, again, thank you. I think any time that we can add, whether it be curriculum or structures, it's certainly to enhance, the student experience is a good thing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Mrs. Sehar Martinez?
Thank you again, to echo everybody. All the questions that were asked by my colleagues were answered. I just wanted to highlight, is there a potential for possible revenue? I know that our teachers do a lot of the training, or we can use it as a hub where we offer other districts the opportunity to train their trainers or teachers.
President Pingerelli, members of the board, Ms. Martinez, I suppose that's possible. We are not looking to, we do rent out facilities, and so this could be that. It could be that without the current discussion that's being prepared, and it's at the very beginning, is about using it as programs for students. And so as a training facility, that could come to be. We haven't had the conversation with staff yet to see what is the highest and best purpose for this.
Excellent. So the possibilities are endless. I look forward to that. That's all I had.
All right, I just want to echo the other board members and thank you, Mr. Hicks. Thank all the lawyers involved. I'm sure this has been a very long process. It looks like a very good deal for Peoria, so I have no questions. All questions were answered in executive session, so I really appreciate you being here and answering them for us. Thank you. All right, so now we're at a voting stage, right? Members, please cast your vote. All right. right, passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, next item. Item 24, Arizona School Boards Association Bylaw Amendments, Discussion and Action. So I guess with our new procedure, I would need a motion and a second to move it.
Mrs. Pingarelli, I move that we vote in the affirmative for the two bylaws as presented by the Arizona School Boards Association.
Second.
All right, then let's start discussion. Mr. Sandoval, would you like to start us off? I'm trying to mix it up a little bit.
Caught me off guard. Yeah, no, yeah, at this point, I don't have any comment on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Mrs. Sehar Martinez?
No comment as well.
Mrs. Connect?
I approve of the recommendations.
Okay, I have none either. This is going to be an easy one. All right, then I guess we're ready to vote. Members, please cast your vote. And this one also passes. All right, let's move on to the next item. Item 25, discussion and possible action regarding the drafting of the superintendent performance goals and performance pay for 2017-2018 school year. I would like at this time to have this item tabled for this evening and moved to a different date.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All board members agree?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to item number 26. We don't need to vote on a tabling item?
It will be fine.
Okay. Item 26, review and discussion of governing board committee interest form. I guess I'll start with Mrs. Connect. Actually, I'm sorry, we got to move. Is this an action?
No, it's not.
It is not, so it's in, so,
Well, this was Mrs. Martinez's item, so maybe
Okay.
she'd like to start the conversation?
Thank you again for getting this out so promptly. I do appreciate it. Looking at all the information, it looks like it addresses all the things I had requested an opportunity to serve, and I appreciate that you guys added the fact that please offer any other committees that may need to address. It gives the community opportunity to share topics that maybe we need to discuss and create an advisory committee for. So I do appreciate that insight. It did go out before school as requested on the website. I did share. I saw a tweet today as well. I didn't see it in the parent packets, but again, it's all new, and I appreciate the opportunity. I would love to hear when the time comes the data on it, how many clicks were on it when that time comes as we go through the semester. Some Google Analytics on that criteria. But I know that we are looking for a committee soon, so hopefully we can continue those efforts. I would like to see the offices have them available, because keep in mind, not all parents have access to internet, Twitter, or Facebook, so that we have them available to all citizens. Chamber of Commerce have access to them so that they can pass them out for Glendale and Peoria, as well as the cities as well. So thank you so much for all your efforts, and I think we're on the right track.
all right, Mrs. Connect?
Looks good to me. Very impressive. This turnaround rate was really impressive, Mrs. Derry.
Sandoval?
No, agreed. I think, anytime we can add another lens, in this case, the community to, what we do as a district, to understand maybe what we're not seeing out there is a good thing, and it's smart. And I appreciate not only the turnaround, but certainly the sensitivity to certainly the diversity of our district, meaning, by having this in Spanish as well. So thank you for that.
Yes, and I also wanted to thank Ms. Aries for all your hard work in getting this out there quickly. I know it wasn't asked too long ago, so really appreciate it. And the whole idea about this is to broaden the pool of people that would like to serve on committees. And so we hope to have several responses. So thank you very much. All right, next item is item 27, report and discussion on local, state, and federal legislative issues and activities. Dr. Stifler?
Mrs. Pingarelli, members of the board, two quick things. What's happening on the letter grades, next steps. August 18th, the State Board of Education is convening to set the cut scores. That will be actually what determines, because we already know how everybody scored on the tests, right? So who's at an A, to B, and C, D. On the August 28th, the non-traditional, the alternative ed, and the Arizona online instruction A through F plans are due to be approved. On the week of August 28th, letter grades will be issued to traditional K-8, 9, 12, to LEAs and charter schools subject to embargo, including the media. So we'll get a draft of what those are. On September 18th, the embargo will be lifted for schools and the media, and letter grades will be publicly released to all, including the news media. In September, so the rest so in September, the board then will set cut scores for the non-traditional alt ed and the Arizona online instruction, that's AOI. September through October, they will review appeals. Of course, the grades will have already been released. Letter grades publicly released for alt ed and AOI. In October through November, review impact data for enhancements on A through F, because everybody believes that this is a continuing process. And so I think there are very few people happy right now in this process, and we are better informed in this process than most others by benefit of of Ms. Wendy Davey, our awesome Director of Research, who has been assisting the state board.
If the public is interested in the A through F and what it's all about, there's a very good article in azednews.com. It's very complex
That's an understatement, Mrs.
and
Kennett.
not necessarily helpful, in my humble opinion.
I would agree. My second very short report, we work with the city of Peoria closely, and we're working closer with the city of Glendale, and so I'm reporting to you that in May, 120 home permits to build homes were approved. In June, 144, and in July, another 144 for the city of Peoria, and so we continue to grow in the north. We're also growing a little bit in the south, but I don't have the data from the city of Glendale to demonstrate that. Here endeth my report.
Thank you. Are other board members have any comments?
I do. I'm very pleased that Save Our Schools Arizona collected 111,000.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I meant to say that.
That's right. 111,540 signatures from across the state to refer SB 1431, which is the expansion of private school vouchers, to the voters in 2018. So I want to personally thank everyone who went out in the heat and gathered signatures and got the job done in an effort to preserve and protect our public schools.
Any other comments? No? Okay. Well, then let's move on to item number 28, request for agenda items for future governing board meetings. Mrs. Sejar Martinez?
I believe we talked about this, so just remind me if it's already on a future agenda. And I sent you an article about this. We are having the equity challenge, but in the audit that you sent me about special ed, it talked about specifically board policies are not aligned for discipline and supporting those efforts. Is the policy itself going to be included in that equity challenge, or do I need to request an agenda item to address the audit that you sent us that specifically spoke about the board's involvement in supporting?
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Regarding equity, the report that you sent me, which is the article out of the Arizona Republic.
Right.
And the data that's based upon, which is the OCR report from several years ago, we are, Ms. Wendy Davy and Mr. Steve Savoy are including that in the prep that's being done for the upcoming agenda item and report to the board regarding the before requested trend data on where we are on demographics, and also to the equity challenge pieces and more fully completing those. It's anticipated that those will be ready in September. Regarding
The policies to support them, so do I need to request an item now to discuss the policies in regards to the equity, or should I just wait?
That's up to you, Mrs. Martinez, but I would recommend that you wait.
Okay.
Because I'm anticipating bringing before you, asking the governing board to approve going to ASBA to help us review all of our policies.
Okay.
And it would include that. And I would encourage the board at this point, because I believe our policy manual needs to be touched all the way through, not to touch it in small pieces here and there. But that's your call, not my call.
I can hold off, thank you, so that, and then one other thing, I know you sent an email and we talked about it during the study session, which is the MOU. Do we need to have it back on the agenda to discuss for a report or the recommendation from the district administration?
We still have it here. I'm meeting with AEA staff. I will bring that to you to figure out how to calendar that.
Okay, then we're on moving forward then.
Okay. Mr. Sandoval?
So I'm wondering if it makes sense to have a protocol around timing with regards to agenda items requested by the board. 'Cause I believe the threat assessment, even the MOU, those were requested early on this year. Let me take a quick step back in all fairness. So first, I just need to understand the rationale behind when, a recommended item gets put on the agenda, if it's based on just overall subject matter of a particular meeting, or can we put a cap on, 90 days, and I'm making that up,
Sure.
from the date that we request an item to be put on the agenda, is it fair to expect it to be on a future agenda within 90 days?
Well, as one person who helps set the agenda with Mrs. Sehar Martinez and Dr. Stifler, I guess different times of the year are a little bit slower than others. Things get put on maybe quicker. We had a new board this year, and there were a lot more things, I think, than in the past that were, I think the new board members were very aggressive on their, and in trying to be educated, and so I appreciate that. So it was hard to get everything on there, so 2 Fridays ago, we did have a meeting to try to catch up on everything, and I believe we are, Dr. Stifler,
You can-
fairly caught up.
I am pointing at my screen as if everybody can see what I'm pointing at. I apologize. Those are the pending items hanging out there to Ms. Pingarelli to answer Mr. Sandoval's point directly. I believe the original requests were to put them on a study session. And the problem wasn't so much to talk on staff side. It was to find a study session time to put them on, right? There is policy that says how things appear on the agenda, and the policy says that, first of all, any of the governing board members can suggest an agenda item as long as it's approved by one other person, that it would go onto this list, and it would be up to the president to schedule that. So,
I don't necessarily think we have to develop a policy about this. I like the 90-day idea, in that I think it should be calendared within the 90 days, but that the conversation doesn't have to take place within the 90 days. But I think there should be a date. It should be scheduled. A conversation should be scheduled within 90 days.
Got it.
So-
Agreed, and I guess, another rationale behind my statement is this. I mean, my fear is, or what I don't want to do is add more items. This list gets longer. And then next month or a couple months down the road, there are other key priorities based on our objectives for a year, right? Where this just will continue to snowball and eliminate us from discussing, items, subjects that are critical to the success of the district.
I don't know if I made myself clear. What I meant is that it makes it on the calendar within 90 days, but we could say, but that's a better conversation to have after the first of the year. So the actual conversation could be scheduled for later than 90 days, but we make the decision that the conversation will be had within 90 days. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
And I don't know that it has to be formalized if it's just an agreement, that that's our goal.
Was an intention to help formalize that and make so that the ideas wouldn't be lost. You can see that the ones that don't have any date came before the form was created to do so.
Well, and I think having date requested on there is holding us accountable, so.
Ms. Pingerelli, one thing that we forgot to talk about at the study session is when a board member is absent and there's voting. I know we were going to talk about it at the study session, but we didn't.
About future agenda
Right,
items.
so do I need to put that back on the agenda to discuss how we want to handle it as a board when a board member's absent for voting proxies?
Yes, ma'am, that would
Okay,
be
so let's put
appropriate
that one on the-
request.
Let's put
You
that
would
one on.
make a proposal, and if it's seconded, then it would appear on the list, and we would work to schedule that.
Perfect. So I propose that we discuss how we want to proceed when board members are absent and there are voting items.
I will second that, just since we have a small board of 5, and we really feel it if
I know the
one or
answer,
two.
but I'll wait till it's agendized.
All right, well, I will, I don't think we, if the board agrees, need a formal
It is
policy.
in Robert's rules what you do.
Okay.
It is in Robert's rules,
Okay,
if you just want to look it
Okay.
up. But we can talk about it, by all means. Not tonight, but we
Yeah,
can talk about it.
okay.
all right, well, I've heard everybody's input on this one, so I appreciate it. Are there any other items? Okay. All right, then let's move on to item number 29. And for these informational reports, I don't believe we need to pull them up. They are on the website, unless anybody has anything in particular they've seen on that. 29 is the Budget Facilities Planning and Construction Report. The next one is 30, which is a report on upcoming meetings and events.
Mrs.
and-
Pingerelli?
yes.
And I'm not trying to complicate things, but we are doing things a little bit differently now. I would request that while we're not going to scroll through like we have in the past, I would request from administration that if there is something that should be highlighted
Yes,
in
ma'am.
that report, that it be brought to our attention and the attention of the public. For example, if there was a chiller that broke down at a high school that was,
Right.
or a big project that was completed, that those highlights be brought to our attention.
So noted.
And, okay, and I also go through them too, in terms of upcoming events and such, to try to pull out what people might be interested in the future. Thank you very much, Kathy. Then the next item is the draft agenda for August 24th, a regular board meeting. And again, this is an informational report, and that can be, well, it will be coming out the week before the 24th. The draft agenda is here to see, but the agenda will be out the Friday before the 24th. The next item, item number 32, board member opportunity to readdress agenda items. I know it's been a very long evening. Does anybody want to go back and talk about anything else? I take that as no. Then we will move on. The last item is consideration for adjournment. I would need a motion and a second. Hopefully not followed by discussion.
I move to adjourn. And actually, I don't think you do need a second for that motion, do you?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, then members, please cast your vote. thank you very much for this evening. Appreciate it. It's been a long night. Thank you for coming.